Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking to Brad Poirier. I have been absolutely fascinated by the fact that he is putting together a cruise for 2023 because he's looking around the corner and making sure that everything's going to be all right for you guys. So listen, Brad, tell me about this. I understand you've done this before.
Yes, we've had cruises in the past that are for hairstylists. This is more open. So this is a cruise that I put together with Virgin Voyages. So it's May 7th to 12th of 2023. We go to the Caribbean. So basically, we first go out. You're going to sail. That evening, we leave at 7 at night. We sail the next day. The day after that, we're going to Mayan ruins. So basically, Costa Maya. The next day we sail. The next day we're at the beach in Bimini, which is Richard Branson's kind of little oasis there. And then we come back to Miami. So we leave from Miami and we come back to Miami. So with this cruise, it's actually for hairstylists, beauty industry professionals, mermaids, beauty disruptors, industry disruptors, anybody that kind of thinks a little bit differently about the industry or wants to learn different techniques about the industry. This is not some little cruise where you're going to learn how to do a simple box cut or a balayage or something like that. This is actually for really forward thinking individuals in the beauty industry. So it's something that we wanted to put together. I've done this before with hundreds of hairstylists. So this is not till 2023. So we want to give people enough time to kind of get ready. We're in pre-launch mode, but we actually have, for anybody that's in the group, you can actually sign up now. So if you sign up now, you can go, if you look at my pick below there, beautyindustrycruises.com, the information is there. And yeah, so
I love that you just said for forward thinking, because if there's one thing I've noticed right now is we need to have some on the edge thinkers, like just not even as far as like hair trends, because we can't balayage forever. I mean, come on,
exactly.
It's got to move on. And so if that's where, so many stylists are investing like all their energy in that. And then when I look at the industry as far as hiring and working and this big shift where everybody went underground and started doing at home stuff, and now they're looking back at commission. So what does that look like now? Like there's just so many radical changes going on right now.
Exactly. It's a different world now than it was before. And obviously things that you thought were working in the past really aren't working now. The dynamics of the salons have changed. We always think we have to work every Saturday. We always think we have to have a front desk person. We always think we have to have this or that, which we don't. So we're putting you together with the people that are the top, the best of the best in the industry. Just to go alone, even with no education, you can, just the networking alone is far worth the value of the people you're going to meet and network with. But the price we have is so low. We're not going to mention it because I want people to go to the site, check it out, see all that. But it's not like you kind of go on, you pay for each class and all that kind of stuff. It's one price. You get to see all the classes. We're all adults, so you stay for the classes you like. The classes you don't, you're welcome to leave. But with Virgin Voyages, with this, we're already offering everybody $600 worth of free stuff already. So it's 18 plus, so it's adults only. There's no children. So I find I do like kids, but the thing is, when you're doing education, to try to have to babysit and, network and, study and do, live hands-on and all that stuff, it's very difficult. You can bring a spouse or friends or whatever that aren't in the industry. So basically they would just come on the cruise, but not necessarily go to the classes. They're also offering your free basic beverages, which is your filtered still and sparkling water, your sodas, or here in Canada it's pop, coffee, tea, all that kind of stuff as well. Your gratuities are included. Your group exercises are included. Your Wi-Fi is included. So if you want to stream on social media and do all that kind of stuff, you can as well. It's just a well-rounded,
There's just something about having, the group of people on that boat. It's like a different kind of connection than when you're like going on some big convention of, some distributor where you go to the resort and everybody just kind of disperses. Like you seriously can't help but trip in front of people. And you know what I like the best about those kinds of things? There's nothing like peer to peer. And when you're sitting down and I'm a coach and a consultant, and I'm a trend watcher, and we have different perspectives,
Yes.
similar, like it's not like we can't relate, but we also get this additional layer of what things look like. But it doesn't matter what I say, it sounds different when it's coming out of another owner, or
Of
another
course.
stylist. And it's just the bonding and the relationships is just worth it right there, isn't it?
And it is, exactly, because let's say you'll be warped for about 3 weeks after you come back from this event because of the people you do meet. And from doing previous cruises, those people I met on those cruises, I'm still friends with today.
Right.
And these are people that are high in the industry that you wouldn't otherwise probably get access to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just coming on board where you're going to get people from around the world. It's not just people from Canada, the US, there's also people from United Kingdom, from Guam, from, other places around the world. So you can see what they're really doing and how they're successful. So you're actually learning, right from those people, right there. And you can ask them anything. Like we're all just people.
People are people. The world is small. People are going through the same thing in the UK and Ireland and in Texas, in Alberta, in Fort McMurray. I mean, everybody is facing the same challenges right now, which are so diverse and interesting and weird. And these new concepts, like you're saying, like take away the front desk, do everything on iPads, hire people and let them pick their own hours. And there's stop tipping, raise your price. I mean, there's so many
different ways around it. You know what I mean? And different coaches have different things. Some coaches will say, don't work Saturdays. Who says you have to work Saturdays? I know it's a weird concept because people think I'm going to lose so much money, but for a lot of stylists, not working Saturday is an option that for most salons, that's their busiest day because they're working less hours, but they're also taking in less money. And their clients, you know what I mean? So there's different things that you can go from. That doesn't mean just because hairstylists always had to work Saturdays doesn't mean they always do.
What? Here's what happened over the pandemic, right? We all started reassessing what really matters. And when you talk about the great resignation right now, because it's across all industries. And we definitely saw it in ours, where people went home and they reassessed what really matters to them. And they didn't want to go back to that. Somebody telling them when they can come in and somebody telling them when they can go and how you have to go and do, they just didn't want to go back to that. But the reality is now people who thought that they were going to do that, they're missing that vibe. And so I think they can be lured back. And we're seeing this resurgence of commission salons. But what does that look like now? And so when you're talking about different coaches and different perspectives, I understand completely that what I'm talking about, I'm working on this, it's called the IGT method, an individual growth track, because you know what? Everybody needs something different. And I think we all want to grow, but into something of purpose. We're seeing this purpose driven, and I am about values-based salons because I think that the cause matters more than the cut right now.
Exactly. And you hit it right on the head. That's exactly what it is. We have to start providing more value because there's so many hairstylists out there. Now people have their choice of whoever they want to go to. So where people are going to put their money, it's all about the experience. It's all about the value that they receive.
Experiences. And you hit it there because they talk about this customer journey, but really right now, the new thing is the customer experience and how, you and I vibe.
Exactly. And that's the same with Virgin. So with Virgin, it's the same. They don't call their cruises, they call them journeys. Because you're starting at one point, you're going on your journey, you're coming back around. So with Virgin, they're new. They started 2018, but with Richard Branson, because his ideas are so different, there's no buffets, everything is made to order, so there's zero waste. They're looking at zero net carbon, print sort of thing.
Matters.
When you get your room, you'll get your bracelet, but with every bracelet that's made, 6 pounds of plastic is removed from the ocean. So then that way they're not only just, as
Matters.
this, exactly, they're going that step ahead and doing that extra because they're not like any other type of cruise line. And because we wanted something different, their cruise lines are meant for artistic, forward-thinking people.
Oh
And
my
that's
gosh.
why we went with them. The experience is totally different. So let's say we have a Facebook group, Behind the Mask, Beauty Industry Cruises 2023. So when you join there, you'll see a lot about their sustainability, what type of shows they have, the food. They have 20 plus restaurants that you don't pay for. Everything is free. So all your food is included. The only thing you really pay for is if you drink alcohol, and then
Yeah.
you pay for that. But they don't even have like drink packages. They have something called a bar tab, and then you just put it on there, and it's such a totally different way to go. And that's why I like them, because their lingo is different, the way
Yeah.
they look at stuff is different. So which is what we're doing with the beauty industry. We're taking a different approach. So those are the type of people we're looking for, are the people
I'm
that want to
coming.
disrupt, the people that want to not even only think outside the box, but when you're in the box, how to think inside the box.
Mhm.
Everybody says, get out of the box, get out of the box. Well, what happens if you know how to survive when you're in the box?
What if we just
Nobody,
make the box bigger, like
exactly. You can change the dimensions.
I think
You
we
can
write,
change the
yeah,
the paradigm.
yeah,
Nobody says, because that box is there, those four
yeah.
walls are containing you, and those four walls
But
are
yeah,
solid.
those space inside those walls, they're yours. And my big thing is you
Hmm.
get to create your environment, and you get to create the world that you're living in. And like you were saying, like some of the things like, working on Saturdays or having to work evenings, or
Hmm.
all of these things that we believe to be true, and they're not true at all. They're just like
No,
standard things that we've always done. But just because we always did them does not mean we
no.
have to do them for forever. We get to create we get to paint the inside of the box whatever color we want.
Exactly. And then we're not really entrepreneurs. We're just like people that are doing what's expected. Well, you're expected to be open every weekend. You're expected to work
Yeah.
at night. You're expected to come early for me. But a lot of times you stay late, you do whatever for that client all the time. One time you can't do it, they go off and they go to somebody else. As far as pricing, and that's one big question in groups, and you probably get that too. What should I charge? Answer is, it doesn't matter, because everybody, it's different. My experience, my training, my stuff is
Yes,
different.
yes.
We as an industry don't have a standard pricing across the board that says all haircuts are 20 bucks.
You
All
know,
haircuts are this.
you and I are just like hugely on board there. And I think with
Mhm.
pricing, I think that the stylist should be able to determine what it is that they want to charge, first of all.
Mhm.
And I kind of like the hourly charging. You might be like, if say you can be $200 an hour, but you can
Mhm.
certainly be working right next to somebody else who's $75 an hour. And if you have
Exactly.
that growth track, like I'm in love with apprentices, and I think everybody,
Mhm.
you don't need to look at them as a cost, right? You bring them in, you move them into
Yep.
commission. And then I think the trick is being able to offer them independence as they kind of move through there. Like,
Yeah,
but
and that's
everything
what
should be
I
on the
really
table.
think with, as far as apprenticeship, people don't really fully value or understand what an asset having,
Oh my
a
gosh.
junior or an assistant is to their business, and how much they can, because everybody says, I'm going to lose money training this person for the first year. That's not true. They could
Why do
make
they believe
more
that? That's
money in
one of
that
those
year.
old beliefs.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But I think they just don't know how to, once
Yes.
they get an apprentice or a junior in, what to do with them, because they're
Yeah.
too busy trying to be an owner and be behind the chair at the same
Yeah.
time. And
Stop.
not everybody, not every owner should be behind the chair, and not every high
See,
hairstylist should be an owner.
no, for sure. And that's what we're finding with the independents who are kind of coming back into the commission, is they're creative artists. And
Yeah.
that's where their joy is. And so that's where they should be like hanging out and
Mhm.
playing their,
Of course, if you're a creative artist and you're an owner as well, hire a great manager that can take
yes.
care of all that stuff. If you're not a
Yeah.
numbers person, if you're not this person,
Don't
get an
do it.
accountant, get somebody
Don't do
who can
it.
do it for you, source it out. Or as to say,
Delegate.
like you were doing, like virtual assistants. If you
Yeah.
can't do it or you don't have the time,
I
there's
don't want
people that
to.
will do that for you. If you're not good at social media, find someone who is,
Yeah. Yeah.
that will
Yeah.
bring revenue to your business. So you're not
Exactly.
losing money by paying somebody
Living
to do your
live
ads
in your
for you.
joy, because when you're doing the
Mhm.
right thing and the thing that you were built to do, you will
Yep.
naturally rise to the top. When you
Yes.
start trying just in a natural way, you don't even have to
Mhm.
try. If you'll just
Yes.
stay in that place of joy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, definitely,
You know,
definitely.
that cruise, back to your cruise here, I've
Mhm.
never heard anything quite like that. Like, you got me so excited to go.
Yeah, there's never really been anything before. Like some
It's
companies will have like land kind of vacation sort of thing where you do training and all that kind of stuff. But anytime you put yourself somewhere different, it changes your mindset automatically. And
yeah,
mindset is one of
yeah,
those biggest things
everything. It's
for a lot
everything.
of people that they need
Everything.
to overcome.
It's
And
everything.
mindset is what is going to take you from inside the box to, um, a new world sort of thing. And that's the biggest thing is
It's
mindset.
everything. It's
Um,
everything.
yeah.
You know, and it's funny because for me, I'm a big possibility advocate. I
Mhm.
when a challenge arises, it doesn't even occur to me that it is in existence, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. My mind will just all of a sudden go, okay, well, this is what we'll need to do, and you just sort of
Yeah.
start solving it. And I just think everything is possible and can be done. We just don't know how to do it yet. Possibility, and I'm huge on perspective, to
Mhm.
get able to get out of your zone and go and consider for just one moment that the things that you and I are talking about isn't
Mhm.
garbage. Like I'll
Yes.
say, I don't know, think about not tipping and raising your prices. I personally think it's a moment of awkwardness. Why not just, and when I hear a stylist say to me, oh, well, I live on my tips, I'm like, well, then you seriously need to be raising your price, girlfriend. But I think when I think differently now than I did a year ago. The
Mhm.
things that I am talking about right now is different than what I was talking about a year ago, because I go into rooms with people like you with an empty cup, and
Yeah.
I think that's what's so great about this, getting people together there.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's that because you want to streamline your service so that any client that comes in or guest, however you want to, some say client, some say guest. But when they come in, you want to reduce the awkwardness. You want everything comfortable. You want an easy experience from the time they call to make their
Frictionless.
appointment to the time they come to the time they leave, and not kind of standing there with your hand out saying, "Where's my tip?" Because it's not mandatory for clients to give you a tip. And a lot of clients don't even know if they tip what percentage they're supposed to give,
It's
you
awkward.
know?
There's that
Yep.
moment of uncomfortableness now where you're just sitting there going, should I give her at the restaurant too? Should it be
Mhm.
10? Should it be 20? Well, if I only give her 10% or 10%, then I'm going to be able to get in next time. I'm not saying it becomes an issue,
Mhm.
but that's where the argument of your service prices comes in.
Mhm.
Because if it's a $300 service and I'm looking, well, that's another $60. Now I'm going to start maybe thinking I'm a little bitter because I don't know. I don't like being forced into doing anything,
No.
and you feel it, you just do. And every single owner that I've talked to who has taken that out and raised their prices substantially,
Mhm.
you don't want to be stupid math. You want to figure it all
Yes.
out and see what it cost averages to. But the clients feel so good. It's like, I just want to know what it cost me, like,
Exactly. And that makes it so much easier because now I
oh,
think with everything happening and in the industry, say as far as products and stuff, products aren't the same pricing for us to buy, you know, 2 years ago as they are now. A
oh
lot of it, the
no.
prices increase. So if most salon owners are going to increase anyway, add that when you're
You
crunching
know,
your numbers, what your product is costing, what your
yeah,
rent is costing, what your hydro is costing,
you
and then add that in automatically and then just put a big sign up, no tipping or tipping optional.
Yes,
So then,
you know what? You need to come. I've got a program I'm running it on the 27th of December, and it's
mhm,
called Three Ways to Increase Your Prices and Have People
mhm,
Happy to Pay. And you
yep,
nailed one of the points I'm going to
mhm,
be making on there, which is when and you can raise your prices not based on your emotions.
yes,
It's like, oh, what if people don't come? And you get yourself all about it, but do it by math. And when you sit down
mhm,
and you list it out, what everything's costing you, how much your hydro here in Alberta, we're doubled. We're doubled
mhm,
on electricity. It's crazy. You know,
yes, yeah.
gloves, hairspray, if you can even get
All
it.
that stuff is gone. All that stuff has gone up.
Nuts.
It's not the same anymore. To buy color, it's gone up. So of course, then that means your color service is going to be more anyway. So as I say, why not put it in there? Why not add it in?
Yeah.
So then if you say my price for this is X amount, people know, okay, it's only that amount. That's it. Or as I say, I charge X amount per hour, or I'm going to charge
Yeah.
you for the product X amount per hour. and it's going to take about an 2-hour service. So
Yeah,
it's going
and
to
they
cost
know.
you approximately this amount.
Clear, just
You
clear
know,
as a bell, clear
it's
as a
clear and
bell.
it's much easier. And I find that's the way it is. And that's how we've structured the cruise as well. So people know up front, as long as they follow the
So you
steps,
know,
it's very easy to join. There's no hidden costs. There's no nothing. Everything is right
that's
there.
that's the beauty of it though.
Right.
Like that cruise could be like, it doesn't really matter what the end game price is. I know exactly what I need to budget or what I need to do to get
Exactly.
there, because there's nothing worse than going anywhere. So this is that's a good little segue and comparison to the salon. You know, I think part of the pricing thing comes from, you know, I thought I was getting this done. Well, as a hairdresser, you know, and you start moving in the Olaplex, and you do all of this, you don't want to check in with the client every time and go, this is going to be another 10. This is going to be, because you don't know until you start unveiling, you know, what it is.
Of course, especially with corrective, you never know. Once you get in there.
So when you just say, look, I'm 200 an hour, we're 2 hours in here, it's going to be $400, you know, Bob's your uncle.
Give or take, and that sort of thing. And that makes such a big difference. And everybody says, how am I going to afford this? The thing is, if you put it already in, like for the cruise, you know, people, what's the price? What's the price? The thing is, if you can say, most people, if you work 5 days a week, if you can save $3, even $5 a day, 5 days a week, you've got it paid for. So basically, most people, if you're not making $3 to $5 in tips a day, I think you have issues. And if you're worried about pricing, you're probably the person that needs to be on this cruise.
You need to be on the
because
ship.
if you can't afford, if you think you can't afford, that's mindset. But the other is, then you're not doing things correctly in order to maximize, you know, your client experience.
Yeah. You know what I think is a great idea? And I heard this from a financial advisor that I was talking to in one of my coach, because I think everybody needs a coach, and so I have one too.
Yep.
And he says, take the first service of the week and just put it in an account, just that one service, the Monday. And I think that's a good thing for young stylists too. I just think everybody should take that first service of the week, pop it into that, you know, little account, and there you go. You go off cruising.
Yeah, and that'll adds up. Right. And a lot of people, because most stuff you don't really see it anyway, for the most part, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Or just even have a jar on your counter and say whatever, you know, because the thing is, even if you had a jar on your counter, even if tips aren't included, but most people will support you.
But you know,
because they're supporting you in education. It's not about you getting a free cruise. What it's about is they get the value when you come back.
Yeah,
because you're going to be, your skills are going to be upgraded.
I was talking to a salon once, and I went in there, and there was an event going on in Las Vegas, and there's like 6 of them, and I'm like, you guys should totally go to this, right? And they're like, oh, we can't, you know, all reasons I can't, because this, because of that, because this, because there's always going to be a million reasons to not do everything. And I'm like, what if? Just what if? And we went out and they talked to their clients about, we got them some dice, we hung them around a little bit. They started doing a conditioning treatment thing at the back bar, and they were very open with their clients, what their goals were, that they wanted to all go down to this show in Las Vegas where they were going to learn. And you know what? The clients were so behind that. They're like, yeah, because I mean, they're your people. They want you to grow. They're the benefit.
Of course. And that's the way it should be. And who wants somebody, after we've been so drained, for most of us, the last, you know, year and a half, you know what I mean? And to get re-inspired and to get re-electrified and why not have some new ways of thinking coming back? Because you know, when you go to a show, you're always more excited once you first come back. But the thing is, once you implement, and the clients want to know that, and the clients are going to invest in you anyway. But I think the clients want to invest more in somebody who's always training, who's always learning, who's always taking courses. And there's tons of ways to make income. As I say, if you watch some of Heather's others, that where, you know, you had a client of yours who made quite a bit of money just selling retail. You know, so there's a lot. You can have an in-salon event like you had taught, and then that way there's your more than enough money.
It was done, and you know what?
And you can bring your whole staff.
And once you do it one time, she's done 3 so far this year. She had $16,000 in one of them, $15,000 in an afternoon yet. Because once you do something once, you know what that's like. It's like once you go through that ceiling and you see it can be done. Like we never saw it coming, but now that she's done it, it's a normal thing for her. And so, you know, to run something like that. And listen, anybody want to know how to do that? I actually made like a blueprint because we know it works, because something that's repeatable, it can be done. And if one person can do it, then everybody
Exactly.
can
And
do
that's a
it.
great thing to get your whole team in on it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And then
Oh
send your
yeah.
whole
You
team.
just gave me
So
a
your
great
whole, so
idea.
your whole team now can come, which we had before, where salon owners actually brought their whole staff. They closed down for the
It changes
5
it.
days.
You can bring them all.
Exactly. You can bring them all. So the Sunday, the cruise is a
Yeah.
Sunday to
Yeah.
a Friday. So
And can you
you're
imagine?
back Friday. So you have the weekend to recover, and then you're back, boom, you
Can you
know.
imagine what your salon would feel like when you
Mhm.
got back? If you could get even 4 or 5, I mean, because you come back by yourself and you're like, oh,
Yeah, exactly. But
uh,"
once they're all
and
in the
then
experience, but to try to get everybody else. But the thing is,
yeah, you
this
can't
will
convey
also
it.
help with team building. So
Yeah,
now you're going to be even closer to your other staff member, because everybody's neutral.
and
So
you
once
get to know, yes, and you get to
yeah,
know. You know, I'm really big right now. I'm finding out, determining what your personal values are, your
mhm,
community values are, and what your
yep,
biggest impact is. And I think
yep,
as any business, I know it sounds like a personal gig, but if you can't bring that kind of personal thing into your culture, what a
mhm,
better way to do that than to really be
exactly.
able to get your hair down. And plus, as an owner, and you're sitting around with all of these people being inspired, because I'm
Mhm,
learning from you right here. You know,
mhm,
and we're just like miles away talking on a camera.
yes.
Imagine if we're sitting on a cruise, you know, really being able to talk about some of these concepts that are new, because you get it. And so
Mhm,
say some other people are around and they kind of, you've heard a little bit about stuff. When you're sitting around there with industry leaders that are looking at how can we elevate our industry? How can we make
mhm,
this industry better? And you're not hearing it
exactly.
from a coach like me or a
No.
podcaster like you know, you're hearing it from somebody who's standing on that floor next to you.
Mhm.
It's different. It's different.
Exactly. And that's why we're going with, and I know you're with some groups on Clubhouse and things like that, about cleaner, and that's what this ship is. Virgin is all about clean.
Clean,
Virgin
yeah,
is all about that kind of stuff. So,
it
and that's
matters.
what we're kind of doing with the
Yeah,
industry as well. So
yeah,
it's a good kind of, I don't say marriage, but it's a good kind of with what they're trying to do with what we're doing type of thing. But why not meet other like-minded individuals at the same
yeah.
event,
Your
right?
team then, like, who do you talk to? Like, when you're an owner, who do you talk to? You can't go home and
No.
go, oh, this is happening. Your husband just looks at you and go, ah, fire them. It's not like that.
No,
You know, like,
and a lot of people don't even know, like you said before, like people finding themselves. A lot of people, business owners or people just working in salon, they don't know what their vision statement is.
no,
They don't know what their
you
mission
know,
statement is. They don't know how to do one. They don't know, I'm
no,
just going to do everybody that comes in the
yeah,
door.
yeah.
And that's why they're having a lot
I
of
have
problems.
actually got a lesson, like a group on, it's called creating your own manifesto,
Mhm,
because I know what I stand for and I know what I stand against. But I
mhm,
didn't just like know that. You have to think about these things. So I
exactly.
created a value sheet. Anybody can download it, by the way, if you just go to my Instagram profile there. And
Mhm,
same with Brad here. Anything he's talking about, he's got it all stuffed into his little LinkedIn link, and mine is in the
yep,
Shoreby link, and you can just go
yep.
grab anything that we are talking about here. But
Mhm,
when you look at those 100 values, and then I have them pare it down to grouping them, and then you pare
yes.
it down and you think a little further every time. And I think that if a person could understand that, then they would know why Betty Joe makes them crazy. You know,
Mhm,
if your values are grace and kindness and intuition and inspiration and connection, and you're working with someone who values, they're frantic and they're excited. There's just something about them that make you nuts, you know?
mhm, exactly, exactly. It's
Yeah.
I think this is what's something, so with the group, because I wasn't even sure if this is, like, I've done them in the past, but I wasn't sure even if this was something that people wanted to go for. But if you
I'm
know,
coming.
but if you know your market, so as
Mhm.
soon as I posted, we had over 500 people in the group in 5 days. So in just under 5 days, we'd over
How
500
come you haven't
people.
invited me to this group? What's going on, Brad?
It's
I thought
open to
we were like
everybody.
friends.
It's open to everyone.
Oh, okay. Well, why didn't you like poke
I
me?
don't, I don't, I don't solicit people, because the thing is kind of build it and they will come.
I'm
I
not
really, I
people,
really want only
Brad.
people who I
I'm not
interested.
people, man. I'm your friend. I always ask you to come support me and my stuff, and you're so good to always like show up for me. And anyway, I'm growing. I'm going
Yeah,
now.
we just put it out there. I mean,
I've been
yeah,
watching it ever
I have
since
the
you
Cruise
launched
Plus.
that.
I have a personal life, and I have a lot of stuff
You
that
know,
goes on. So if people get missed, I apologize,
yeah, no,
but I
that's
don't
okay.
want to spam everybody with come
Yeah.
to my
No,
thing,
you
come
know
to
what?
my vote,
You
you
put
know.
it out there lots.
Yeah.
And the reason I started looking at it in the first place is I know you. And I also
Mhm.
know that that it was not going to be ordinary because I know you. Do you know, like
Yes.
I know that you're not just putting together like I don't want to say like a Paul Mitchell ship. Do you know, like it's like a
No, it's going to be an extraordinary experience. It's going to
yeah,
be different than any training
yeah,
that you've ever been on,
I'm
regardless of
excited.
what company. As say, will align with brands that are innovative,
Uh-huh.
that stuff that's new, that is say that are forward thinkers that are doing stuff that's different now
Yeah.
than just your regular, let's say,
Oh,
other brands.
it just sounds
Yeah,
like my people. It just sounds like my
yeah,
people. You know me, I'm looking around the corner all the time. I want to see what's there before I get there so I
yeah.
know what to do, you
Because
know?
yeah, there are some people like I want to know who's teaching first before I sign up. That's fine, but who wants like cutting class at 9:30, this at this time? This it's boring.
Not to
Why
mention,
not embrace and
yeah,
because the value is going to be far greater than what
and
you'll ever spend.
it doesn't matter. There's so much young new talent that you haven't even heard about. You know what?
Hmm.
Nobody's heard of me. I'm not in the coaching cycles. I'm
Yep.
not, strategies who I admire, and
Hmm.
I'm not I'm not. But that innovation
Yeah.
always comes from these young companies, do you know?
Yeah.
Or
But if
and if
you're
those
on,
companies aren't evolving
hmm,
anyway,
yeah.
who cares what's being taught? You know what?
Exactly, but that's the
You
same.
gotta
It's
not
about
think like that.
like-minded,
You
it's
know,
about the
it's not what
panels, it's
people
about the
are,
masterminds, it's about all
it's
that stuff.
it's
And
not
if you
what
can
people are,
mastermind
yeah.
with like thinkers and actually be in the same room with them, the power and the energy that's going to
I
come
learned
from
so
that.
much.
Yep.
I learned so much, you got to go to these rooms with an empty cup for sure. And I
Well, and
think it
most
didn't,
masterminds will,
yeah,
most great masterminds start at 10K, right? To
yeah,
be in a
yeah,
great mastermind.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's like once a month meeting, but you
yeah,
meet great people from around the world, but
crazy.
then you also get solutions, you
These
know.
are thought leaders, like for
Hmm.
me, one of the reasons I go on Clubhouse and then I like it there
Hmm.
is I see more thought leadership there and less striction, like this is how we do things. I mean, I know I'm
Yes.
tired of being taught what I already kind of know and have already kind of
Hmm.
dismissed, or I would have dug into it then. Do you know what I mean? And so I think that there's a lot of value in just
Of course, I think it's good to come on. I think it's good to be challenged in a good way,
yeah. And
like
and don't,
to maybe challenge what you're thinking, you know
yeah,
what I mean? And either one, why you believe it, or hey, here's something new, or
yeah,
here's a twist on something I think
yeah.
is,
Yeah, I think that
good.
we do get this place where what we believe that what we know to to be true, and for
Hmm.
something to be true, it has to be true all the time. And so
Yes.
you can't be going that, oh, this is the way things are, if there's even one example of it not being like that. It's like people
Hmm.
won't pay that. Well, that's just not true because they're getting it down the street. So,
Exactly.
but when we live in these things so solidly, we just
Hmm.
embrace them.
And that's
But
what
I
we're
think it,
shaking up, and that's why we're disrupting, and that's why we're
yeah,
creating
yeah,
something
yeah. And
that
those
is
are
for
leaders.
total industry disruptors.
Yeah.
But disrupting is say in a good way, not
Yeah.
in a bad way, not to say everything you've been doing is wrong, everything you've been taught is
No,
wrong. This
no.
is to say, here's what's working, and
Yeah.
here's the people now that have gone through, like you said, globally,
Mm,
we've all
yeah.
gone through this same thing with our businesses being closed, losing staff, gaining staff, hiring, whatever else we need. Because now, I mean, out over the last few years, it wasn't enough just to be a good hairstylist. You also had to be a media guru. You also
Mhm.
had to be, in sales, like no retail. You had to have all these different hats in order just to survive. And you didn't have an online presence. Nobody really knew you except for
Mhm.
your own clients. Some salons don't even have websites. You know what I
I
mean?
know
In this day and
it's
age still.
just not acceptable. I did 4 social media ones, and I'm not a
Yeah.
social media guru, but having
Mhm.
been immersed a little bit, like I have been in the last year, I've learned a few things, and they're not
Mhm.
the regular things that I've been, taught from the book and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
but they're definitely. I mean, you have to have that open mind. Just because you heard it doesn't mean you got to do it.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
Anyway, you gave me a quote and I'm really happy with that. It is not, because I'm going to go and I'm definitely going to be going and posting this. I love
Mhm.
the stuff that you post because I think that when we are posting things that are sayings and motivational expressions, that
Mhm.
we still gravitate to those things that we truly feel. But anyway,
Yes.
it is not what you're being taught, but what you're prepared to learn. Because if you can't get out of your own boots, shift your perspective and just go, don't just go, oh, wow, no. You
Yep.
know what? 2 minutes in the room with me and I'm sorry, I got to go. I'll be right back. I just go into the bathroom, like.
Exactly. We want people that are invested. We want people that want to learn, that want to grow. Because if you put yourself in 110%, you're going to get that. But by the end, you're going to be so bonded with people you never thought you'd be. It's going to be such an emotional. If you go to my
and you
IG,
just learn so much from each other. I mean, how did we meet? I don't even remember. But
we met through salontraining.com.
salontraining.com. But you know what? Since then, we've become friends and we just kind of connected for a minute to do a little bit of a podcast. And I look at us. Didn't we promise we'd be a half an hour? Like, didn't we say that? And look at us.
Who said that? Are you ever half an hour?
Not with you, I'm not, buddy. Last time we went like over an hour, but I'm smarter now and I'm going to put this into 2 parts because I get it. And I'm a better editor than I was then too. So we're going to make this all sort of work out for sure. But, and I've learned so much from you. And we just met doing a podcast through a training group where Brad and I, by the way, go to salontraining.com, you guys. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming out there in the new year. And you know what? I know you can go and get free education and whatnot on YouTube. And I suggest that we keep tweaking our stuff. But if you want to go and sit in and actually interact in some of the Zoom classes, I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm getting ready. I'm actually going to put some classes out there. How about you?
Yeah, no, it'd be good. It'd be good. Yeah, there's so much happening. And I find, free, yes, YouTube can assist you, but I find what happens is when it's free, you don't get the value and you're not going to invest. When you don't pay for it. It's like giving a client away a free thing. That's fine, but they're not going to value it the same as if they had to pay for it.
Absolutely. There's a lot to be said for that. The first time I invested $5,000 in a coach, and I believe in coaching now. Like, I don't know if I could do what I do without having one, like at all times, whatever my need, wherever I'm trying to grow.
Yeah, everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs a coach or a mentor. And it's not like I can't
get good ideas on the internet, like you say. Of course you can. I could do all self-study, but you don't.
No.
Until you've invested.
Exactly.
Okay, well, listen, I am so stoked as usual to have had this conversation with you. And I know now that I am absolutely going. So anybody who is interested in finding out a little bit more about this is Brad Poirier, and he is amazing. I want you to listen to his podcast. He's always got some interesting people on there. I don't know where he finds them, honestly. But so he's, and now there's this group going on with this cruise. And it sounds like, is it going to be the whole boat? Like, is there a limit on this? Is it?
So the thing with Virgin, the thing with Virgin Voyages, they're smaller. They're not like the mega ships. So the last cruise I did was on, was called Flip Your Wig, and it was on the largest ship in the world, which was about almost 5,000 people. This one is it's about half the size. So it's more like a mega yacht. So you basically get like a ultra luxury yachting experience. So it's totally different. So you're like on a yacht, right? So Richard Branson, so anybody that has does a suite or above, they get to go to Richard's rooftop. They have lots of perks. There's lots of the experience itself. Best ways to go to the group, but you can go to Beauty Industries, cruises.com. You can find the information there. If you know me on Facebook, you can friend me, send me a message so I know who you are, and say you saw me on Heather's interview podcast, whatever we're doing right now. I'm not sure if you have a name for it.
I'll be launching this here podcast in January 22nd. For now, of course, on my YouTube channel, it'll be coming up here on the
Of course, it would have to be that day, Heather, wouldn't it?
What is going on January 22nd?
It's my birthday.
That's what you should have said.
In honor of your birthday, I'm launching my own podcast.
Decided to launch my podcast on your birthday. Aren't you special?
Yeah. Anyway, and you can also go, and anybody can also go to IG. So if you go to Instagram, you can look at Brad. So it's at Brad Celebrity Hairstylist. If you go to the Linktree link, then everything is in there as far as registration, the group, every link you need to know is all there.
Yeah, I'm going to put all the information below here because you'll be seeing this here on YouTube. And again, just so stoked to have you. So thank you, everybody, for giving us your time here and meeting my friend Brad Poirier. And make sure that you check in for that cruise.